guys, I thought I'd introduce you to, in part, to my brick store, which is Bits for Brick Builders. My name's Nathan, and this is my store. What I'm going to run through today is the evolution of storage systems since I started my Lego store back in 2021, I think that. So I've not been doing it for too long, but I've come a long way and learnt a lot. So I thought, as a English Lego part seller, I thought I'd share that with you. As you can tell, I have to run my store from the loft. It was in the bedroom. That wasn't allowed for very long, so I've been relegated to the loft. With some of my American counterparts have these absolutely magnificent basements. God, we could fit several houses in those basements, but I don't have that. So loft it is for me, as you can see by these hangers and other such wooden floor roof bits, which I'm not so sure what they're all called. They've all got names, so they get in the way and they prove challenges. However, I make it work. This is a space I have, but yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the different types of solution that I started from the very, very first day. I decided that it would be a great idea to sort millions of pieces of Lego into separate pots and try and sell them on the internet. So the first problem we have with being in the loft is it's quite low. I'm also 6 foot tall, nearly, so I have to be a little bit careful. This is the main area. This is where most of the drawers are. These are obviously familiar to anyone that's a seasoned Lego seller, or quite a few of these now. And if we go around here, there will be, let's get around to it, a new row here. That's all in the future. I haven't got that far yet. But where do we start with these drawers and storage solutions? Well, I started with these right here. This was the very first thing I used, and these came from Poundland. If you're from the UK, you'll be very familiar with the absolute classic shop that sells, well, used to sell everything for £1. No longer the case, but they used to. And I bought these. These were in the homeware section. I'm not even sure what they were originally designed for. However, probably wasn't this. But they used to come in little sections like this. I think they were a set of 4. I think they were in sets of 4. And they all clipped apart. And actually pretty good for the money, actually. And how I very first started, I think I bought a row of about 30. Little did I know how far that was going to go. But then in each drawer, I think there's still one there, because I haven't converted all these drawers yet. There's one, number 19, and then in each drawer I put a little bag. Oh, so it's also cold in the loft, so I'm wearing these gloves. These are my girlfriend's gloves. Her nan knitted them. They're dead handy, and I used to put them in a little bag in the drawer. I used to dedicatedly? Yes, alright, let's go with that as a word. Label them up with a part number and the condition. Well, it's called location, but it was condition. And that's what I used to do. And that was that. What I discovered over time, that actually that was quite a timely task. And so I evolved and I started making these little cardboard sleeves, paper sleeves. And all it is a piece of folded paper. I wonder if I can find one that's nearly empty. Oh, well, I can't. But so that's what I did. I just folded a piece of paper into a little shape, and it made 3 compartments. And then in the inventory on Bricklink, I just put the drawer number, and then whether it's back, middle, or front. And I did this for a long time. Actually, I got all these. Oh, I got 180 of those. Don't know how much that cost me in Poundland. Well, 180 divided by 4. I'm not doing that in my head. Can't bother. Anyway, if you'd like to do it, it's there. But I still use this solution to this day. It works quite well. The drawers are too thin in real life, but you know, there's not very much in these, so it's all right. they're a bit annoying. Sometimes the handles get caught down, you can't quite pick them, so there's this here to deal with that. And I actually didn't use these drawers yet, but I will. I dare say they're not even numbered. Oh, I did allow for them though, so that's good. So that was the very first solution I had. At about the same time that I was setting my Bricklink store up, I realised that there was a verification process that you had to go through to open your account. If anyone's opens a store, you know, you have to already have at least one feedback, which is quite useful. But then you also, at the time, you had to provide, I think you had to provide some sort of bank details, a driving license, yeah, some ID to prove who you were. I think it was address and that sort of thing. And then you'd have to wait for the whole process to happen, which took weeks. So while I was waiting, a bit disheartened because I wanted to get cracking, I wanted to get selling and see how it worked. But what I decided to do was to go over and start selling some minifigures. That seemed like the done thing to do. Lots of people do it on eBay, and I thought, right, I'll crack on with that then. And so I started off with a box like this, which is it's a Pepway box. If you know anything about IT, that's well, you can find out. I'm not boring you with that. I simply identified the figures. Now this box is how I used to. This is actually figures with missing parts, so this isn't how I sold them. This is, but it's the original solution. So so here we got the Statue of Liberty, bless her, she's still missing something and I still haven't found it. But this is how I originally did it, and these would have been completed figures. And I would have just put them in this box, like a little sortie box. Put the ID on there, or the part number, whichever you want to call it. And, well actually that isn't the part number, I think. That is the set number for that one. That's inexperience for you. There you go, that's the figure number. And when somebody bought one, I would be able to fish through here and quickly identify the part. It worked a treat. Worked very well, nice and simple. Box was free, tape was nearly free. These bags were free from work. Looks like they had some sort of piece of equipment in from RS Components or somewhere. And that worked very well. It was a good solution. Next up is the classic tub solution. Most people have probably used this solution and probably still do, much like me. It has its pros and cons. Again, this was another Poundland purchase. I'd moved up in the world then. I think I'd moved to the cookware aisle. And when I first started doing it, again, I used little bags. Let's crack this open. Inside. Little bags to identify the part. I mean, sometimes I still do this, but I definitely wouldn't take the time to write the part number and stuff down. Not for wheels. Anyway, God, must have been keen. Look, I've done wheels, and these have been here for years. No one buys them really. Occasionally they do. Some of the older stuff, like the dually wheels and things, sell, but not so much these. But this was a solution. Again, it was a cheap solution. It worked. It allowed me to store slightly bigger parts of those weird hexagon-shaped plates and things, and those sort of wheel arches and stuff. And that's what I had. Bear in mind, going back a while, and I didn't have lots of anything. I just had lots of different parts, really. And this worked really well. But at the moment, or nowadays, I don't really like it very much. It's a bit of a faff. I mean, particularly a faff when you got to do one hand. But like, if you want to get to draw, but now you got to take those out and muck about with it. And you can bet your bottom dollar people only buy stuff from the bottom 4 boxes, because that's all that ever happens to me. It wouldn't matter what order I put them in; they'd only buy them from the bottom. But it worked. It was cheap, and that worked, and it still works to this day. So I'm alright with that solution. I would say I don't use it too much because it's a little bit of a faff to work with, but it works for some things. So then I started getting onto a sort of phase where I needed slightly more storage for things. In there, had more quantity of things, especially with the bricks and things. And as you can see by the numbering, I'm quite quickly phasing this solution out to give you an idea of how successful that was. And all these are is just cardboard boxes, and inside the box I used to put bags of bits in, and it kind of works, but these boxes are a bit small, and they have this sort of flap thing, and it's not really, it didn't work that well. And then I used to saw the bricks, and still do saw the bricks like this at the time. Obviously once these are sold, they won't be done like that ever again. In fact, once these boxes have sold out of their contents, they will just sort of fade away. And the animals, oh hello horse, there's some animals in there. They don't live here anymore. They're just because I haven't relocated them. They're not really in the way at the moment. When they become in the way, I'll put them in a drawer or something like that. Yeah, and so this is an example. So we've got in here like a bag of bricks and bits and pieces, and again these are all solutions. They kind of worked, but they didn't last very long because I quickly found how difficult they were to quickly access. I didn't want to have to open the box, open the bag and the likes just to get in there and get one brick out. So these didn't last very long, these solutions, but they were free, and they did the trick for a little while. So this solution was born out of really lack of commitment to the enterprise, I suppose. I'd worked on the drawers, the Poundland drawers and the tubs and things, but I hadn't really made a lot of money. I hadn't really made, well, not a lot of money. I mean, we don't really make a lot of money anyway, but I hadn't made a lot of sales, and I wasn't sure if it was really going to work, and I didn't know if I wanted to commit to buying proper shelf units and drawers and things like that. And so I was looking around for a cheap solution for the drawers, and I came up with this. So I went round to my work and found out what they had, and what they did have was this. So in here there's one box, and inside the box, this obviously went to Glasgow, there is a selection of boxes. Now if they're turned around, that means that there's nothing in them, and if there's something in, if they're not, there is. And in each box there is just the parts. Oh, I've dropped it, hang on, here we go. The parts, and that's what I used, and that was very successful actually. It was very simple, it took very little time to set up, and it was free, and let's face it, free is good. Yes, it's cardboard, yes it will fall apart eventually, but it hasn't fallen apart yet, and it's been here for over a year, so that's good. And that I've done that up to, where do we get to? X168. So that gave me 168 storage locations for absolutely nothing, which was pretty good going actually. I was really happy with that, and I feel like I should give it up, but which is why I'm turned around. But actually, it works quite well. So I'm not sure if I will or not. Yeah, I'm torn with it. It was a nice simple solution, and it just works. So what have we got next? Oh, let me show you this. This was a wonderful idea. Not. So I was looking to try and find a way to store accessories efficiently. Now I was putting them in my little drawers, my little Poundland drawers, but they were taking up quite a lot of room really. I mean, you get a lot of different parts in one compartment, and I was finding it quite difficult to find the parts. So I was trying to find a different solution, and I came up with this. And what I did is I labelled up the box as ATC1, and inside the box there's these bags, and each bag is labelled, is numbered, and in each thing there is a different type of part. Now you can already see how terrible this idea was. So what I wanted was a wonderful system that would allow me to just flick through and go, number 17, brilliant, there we go, off. But actually what happens is, of course, all the parts of bags are bottom heavy, they slide about and they don't stand up, and the whole thing was a bit of a disaster. One of my worst storage solutions, if I'm honest. The only reason why they're still in there is because I haven't bothered to move them to another drawer. So that was a bad idea, that one. I don't recommend that to anyone. Don't try that. So I'm starting to move on in my the evolution, I suppose, of my storage solutions, and moving into my more modern current usage solutions. Although that said, most of the systems that I've mentioned I'm still using to a lesser extent, but still using nevertheless. One of the things that I found early on, when I was selling the minifigures in these boxes I was saying earlier, right at the beginning, the lid actually was quite annoying. And also I had lots of these boxes, and so on the front here you can see that they're all numbered, and then I would have to fish through the boxes that were all stacked up nice and high, and I have to go through each box and find the right part. So that one didn't work for me, so I evolved into these, and it allows me to store all the parts like so in these boxes, which I made up. You can use the football card boxes. I think they suit a particular type of bag. I don't know if mine are compatible, but that's it. And so I've got quite a few of these, and that's the minifigures. That works really well. I'm pleased with that. I can get access to everything. They're all labelled by compartment roughly, just to sort of whatever. And then each figure has a part number and its description, and then inside the bag it's got the minifigure in a smaller bag, which is the bag they get delivered, so that when I go to ship it I don't have to rebag it. There are some in there that don't have bags because I only thought of it later on, but you know, as they sell slowly, they will all be done the same way. And I've got capacity to run to the end here at least. This is those poor solutions that I previously mentioned. So that works really well actually. Nice and simple. Again, more or less a free solution. Now these bags are not free. I had to buy these, and same as the bags inside, because I couldn't get those from work as rubbish at least. But the ones with the red things, I've still got some of those kicking around. So that works really well. As a replacement for the accessory storage, I found these drawer trays. Now I don't really like trays very much. I'm always scared that it's a high loss rate. If you knock this over, it's going to take you so long to put it all back, so I'm scared of them. I'm always very careful with the contents. I'm quite clumsy as well. But these are the boxes labelled, and so are the compartments, so that I can mark that down in the inventory and get quick access to them. It's great for really small bits that you have loads of. There's nothing wrong with the drawers, but these are slightly smaller compartments, and they just kind of work well for this. Much better than the cardboard box with the plastic bag solution that I had. I've got about 4 of these. Like I said, I don't really like them very much, but they do have a place. I think I got these from what's that shop? The Range. I think I got these from. This is for sewing and stuff, or whatever you want, I suppose. But I think there's a sewing section it was in, and it works quite well. I might get some more, but I prefer the drawers for most stuff if I can help it. It just works better. So that brings me to my current solution, my current main solution, which is obviously the 60 drawer units, and the typical units that a sensibly sized brick store will eventually need to succumb to be manageable at any great extent. These drawer units I bought from, I think I got these from eBay actually. Various sellers will sell these. I think you used to be able to get them from, I can't remember. There's various stores online that will sell these, and they're very successful. actually. So they're a two-part unit, a two-part drawer. They've got a little thing in there to stop them popping out. I promise I do sell stuff there. There are actually things in these drawers somewhere. And they work very well. So I use barcodes on these, as you can see. All these drawers, and these are additional labels, because what I discovered after putting all the effort into this, when they were downstairs it was easy to read, but when I got to the loft and you look down at the drawers, you can't see the number. In fact, if I can show you here, that these haven't been converted yet, but it's there, you can't see it, and like when you look down, absolutely useless. So you have to bend down all the time. Obviously you've got to go down there to get the drawer open, but it's nice to find out where it is first. So this is something I'm going through and correcting over time. It's not a problem up here, just down here. Also, I have two types of this drawer unit. I have the larger drawer unit as well, so it's got a bunch of the small drawers there, and then it has the 9 larger drawers, which is very helpful. And I've got these, quite a few of these dotted around. They're usually the bottom 2, but or at least further down there they are anyway. And so yeah, that works really well. I think these ones came from eBay. These ones, the Tactics ones, the 9 drawers, you can get these from eBay as well, but I think I got these from Homebase, you know. I don't think they were that expensive either, so they're worth looking out for if you can get them. I'm not necessarily dedicated to this brand. It's just that that's what I've got. They work, and they fit together nicely in here. So of the drawer units, I have what's that, 6x5 there, and that gives me just over, what's that, probably about 1,200 drawers on that side. It's not full yet, I'm working on it, but yeah, so that's those. So that's where I'm up to with current solutions. Solutions that need more work, I think, are back here. This is Duplo, which I sell. It's just a small quantity of. This kind of works, but obviously Duplo bricks are quite big, so you can only get so much in a box. As you can see, it does sell. People do buy it, so I don't want to not sell it. But again, I have this stacking issue where you can bet your bottom dollar people only buy from these ones, and you have to restack the piles every single time. And I want to try and get away from that if I can. I could perhaps try and rig up some sort of shelving which just fits those boxes perfectly, and you can just pick them from it. We'll see. It's not enough to make me want to do anything with it for the Duplo, because it's not something I desperately want to sell. I just, if I can get it, if I get hold of it, then I'll sell it. This is the elephant in the room. Anyone that sells Lego, how do you store your instruction books? Well, I store mine in this box, and they're just dumped in here basically. They are all packed individually. I always make sure they're packed so they're in their correct sets and things like that, but they are dumped in there, and every time someone buys something I have to go through nearly the whole box just to find them. Some cool stuff in there. Yeah, so that's definitely a solution that needs to be improved. I was thinking of filing cabinet stuff, but of course they're all different sizes. It's not going to sit very well. Just haven't decided yet. I don't know, maybe a file or something, who knows. We'll come up with something though. The back of this set of drawers that I've just shown you will be a new set of drawers as well. I just haven't got round to installing it all yet. I need to fix the lights a bit, needs a bit of work doing there, and need to put some timbers up to hold it all in place. I do have the drawers, they're just here and they're waiting to go up. I've still got a row and a half to go before I need to get there, so I probably won't fill that up in the next week or two, so I'm not too worried about that. But other than that, most of the stuff around here is either a little bit of loft junk and packaging at the moment, which needs to be sorted out. So this area is a work in progress, very much so. Hope that was interesting. I was just looking at different things that I could do to share the Lego selling interest. I might do some other videos sometime soon. But for now, just end Marmite Neglect and have a good day.